Aloha, everyone. This is Nikki Keohoho, CEO and co-founder of the Direct Selling World Alliance, dswa.org. We're so happy that you found us. And I have with me today, assisting in the chat box, will be Renee Hobley. So Renee, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. I think this is a great topic to kick off the year because it's always the time when we want to reconnect with our teams and our customers, and sometimes we can't seem to find them. So excited to be here. I am your membership director. I've got 30 years of experience in the direct selling industry and frankly just retired. So I'm retired and supporting the DSWA as my retirement gig. So happy to be here.
And we are loving having her. And she's keeping up with our Facebook. So everybody, someone needs to mute there. I think we can mute all if you could do that, please, Renee. Renee will type into the chat box. That's what we're going to be using today is the chat box, not the Q&A. And in that box, you can type questions. And Renee right now is going to type our members Facebook page, how to get there, because you definitely want to be a part of that. So you're in the know of everything that's going on. So I also, before we get started here for a little bit, I want to just share a few other points. You're going to receive this recording. You'll receive this recording in about 2 days. So after this, because you signed up for the class, you'll get the recording. And with the recording, I'm going to ask you, go back, look things over, and get the fine points from the recording. Tonight, we just want you to participate. We've only got a half an hour together, so it's not very much time. I will tell you, we're going to have another course. It's going to be, I think it's an hour and a half, that's going to take place later on this month. And you'll get some additional good information around this topic. So use that chat box, write your questions in there, and let's get started. If you have something you specifically want to know, make sure you put it into the box so that we're all ready to go there. So I want to ask y'all, has anybody here had a sense that your team or your customers are going MIA? It happens. Missing in action is not a fun thing. So you found them and then we lost them. We don't know where they went. So are you or your team members struggling with getting ghosted by customers? And, I think it's better now because
You're mute.
mute. There we go. People now with what's going on with COVID, I think they are excited to talk to people. I think they want a relationship. So now more than ever is a good time just to call people and just say, how are you doing? I was thinking of you, to let them know that you care. Put a sticker on your phone that says, I call because I care. I call because I care. And every time you pick up the phone, it's because you care about somebody. And that's how it's supposed to be. So we don't want them to be missing in action. Here's some thoughts for you to consider. Do you know how the people, your customers, want to be communicated with? Have you asked that early on when you start working with that customer? Do you want text? Are you more interested in email? Are you looking for phone calls, Messenger, Facebook? Find out how they want to be communicated with and then adjust. Now, some of us are thinking, man, I have fat fingers. I don't want to text. Well, I'm going to tell you what, skinny those fingers on up, because if they want you to text, we've got to text them. That's how it works. So another question is, how do you connect with your customers without an agenda? Now, let me clarify what that is. Sometimes we call people because we wanted to buy something, or you're short a little few dollars that month, or maybe they know somebody that'll recruit. You have some sort of agenda. It is important to connect with your customers when you don't have an agenda. Maybe it's a happy birthday or happy holidays, or maybe it is just thinking of you. Those kinds of touch points let people know you care, and they're important to do. What systems do you have to follow up with people? I want you to really think about that. When somebody just joined your company, let's say it's skincare, and we have several skincare people here and companies that have skincare. When they have bought your skincare system, so may I check with you in a week or two to see how you're doing with the system and if you have any questions. Why that's important is they know you're going to call. They give them permission for you to call, and they're going to probably use it right away instead of leaving it in the box on the shelf. So we want them to use that product and then say, so what did you like the best about the system? If you ask a question like, well, did you like anything? Or did you do okay with it? You know, what did you like? Which product was your favorite out of the collection? And by the way, use the word collection. It's much better than system even, because collection, you don't want to have a partial collection. You want to have the full collection. Here's another one that is important, that are you sending too many emails? Ask yourself, are you beating them to death with emails? You know, mix it up. Don't just send. And people opt out. And when they opt out, you've lost touch with them. And that isn't a good thing. So those are some thoughts for you. If you or someone on your team is struggling with, you know, customers, and then with team members, let's take a look at that for a minute. The idea on team members is that you brought them into the business. Now what? You know, how did you bring them into the business? By the way, if you say things like, the product sells itself. Well, by the way, if the product sells itself, we don't need you. And that's not good. That's not a good thing. So the product can't sell itself. You sell the product. Don't shy away from letting them know that they get to share quality products with their friends and their family and people they haven't even met yet. So here's a couple of thoughts around that. Do they, you know, and by the way, if they go into the witness protection program, you really want to kind of think about that. What caused that? What did you do to establish that trust and that rapport out of the gate? Because if you don't have trust and rapport, it's pretty easy to lose them. Remember, when people come into the business, they're in a real high. They're thinking, I can do this. This is great. And then they talk to their mother. Well, you can't sell anything. Well, you've never done something like that before. Nobody ever makes money at that. All the junk that people say that are uninformed and have never done it. So we want to get back to them quickly. We want to make sure that we connect with them quickly. So here's another thought. Are you training them and they still aren't doing the work? So you've trained them and trained them and trained them. When you've trained somebody and they're not doing it, it's not because they need to be told again what to do. It's because they have a limiting belief or something that is holding them back. That's where coaching comes in. And that's why coaching is so critical to building a team. And if you've built the rapport with them, you built the trust, and you build trust dramatically through coaching, and you've made them feel that you really care about them. They're not just a number. They're not just a dollar sign. They are a person who matters. You're going to have much better results with that person. They very rarely disappear. So it is, another thought is to really understand the person. And it's not just telling them what to do. It's asking questions to understand them. So here's some ideas on a few questions. And again, you can get this on the recording. What do you know? This is for, I'm asking you, what do you know about the reasons they aren't doing the work? So what have you asked them? Here's the question for them. You know, what, if anything, might be holding you back from really building this business? And the other thing is to know if there's a fear or a limiting belief in that person. Ask, you know what, that will come out during that little question. What, if anything? And the word if anything, just don't assume there is something. What, if anything, may be holding you back? And when you ask that question and you do it without judgment, you do it from curiosity, they generally tell you. They might say, well, I'm a little uncomfortable. Well, what specifically are you uncomfortable with? And they say, you know, I'm kind of afraid to be successful. And this is not uncommon. Fear of success, fear of failure are very, very common reasons people don't do things. Now, don't go, fear of success. Why would you feel fearful for success? Everybody can be successful. You know, you bring your drama into it. You are neutral in coaching, neutral. So you don't need to put your 2 cents in there. So what is fearful about success for you? Or here's another one. When in your past have you been successful and maybe it went away? Because that's the most common reason why people are afraid of success. They had success and it went away. They had a great job and the job, they got released. Or they had a great direct selling company and the company closed. So they have that fear. So the main ones here are the fear of success, fear of failure, fear of being pushy is a big one. And if you want to, at the end, I'll stay on, because when you learn how to coach that fear of being pushy, I'm just going to tell you, it is magical, because people go through their whole life with that fear of being pushy and they always stay back, always hold back, versus being present with whoever that is that they're talking to, and reaching out to people. So here's another question for all of you. Do you really know their emotional why? Have you talked to them about that? Material why will not keep somebody in the game. It won't. Money is not an emotional why unless you turn that money into an emotional. In our coach school, we have a whole module on this, and you get to see it done and understand it even better. But I'm going to tell you, when someone says, well, it's the money. So what will you do with that extra income? What makes that important to you? And it could turn out to be something like, it would take a lot of pressure off my husband. I'm afraid he's going to have a heart attack. He's working 3 jobs to try to support our family. Or I feel I'm not contributing to the family. It could be something way deeper when you ask those additional questions. That's why be curious. Be curious about this. So understanding the person may be in the answer. When you understand that person, pretty amazing things can happen to you. So there was a question that was emailed in today, and I want to thank the person that did this. She asked, what do you do when your team member ghosts you and doesn't respond to calls, text, messenger, WhatsApp, email? You blow their phone up and they're not responding. What do you do? Well, I'm going to go back a step from there, because the step before that is, how did you build that relationship? What kinds of guidelines did you have with that person? How often in the beginning did you speak with them without giving them direction? Here's a hint for everybody. Nobody joins direct selling to have a job. Nobody joined direct selling to have a boss. They don't want somebody telling them what to do every day. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you should do. Here's what I would do. All of that stuff is old school. It's not happening now. It's really talking to the person to understand. Yes, you do train. You've got to train. But then you move to coaching, which is important. They will not ghost you when they have a relationship with you. They will be honored to have time with you, that you took the time to speak with them. It's really a very different thing. So, they're stuck in that. They get to maybe to that little first gear is to ask their mother to do something. And then they just sort of fade away because it didn't go with mother. So the question, and they're going to talk to them, well, what happens if your mom is not supportive of your decision? How will you handle that? That might be a good question to ask somebody that has that challenge going on, because sometimes our family is the worst with supporting us and understanding us. And I hate to say it, I'm very blessed. My family now is supported, but I had a brother that didn't get it for years. Actually, just got it about a year ago. It's only been 40, but what can I say? That's okay. So that for that woman, what do you do when they ghost you? First, look at how you adjusted to them in the beginning. So now they aren't calling and you can't get a hold of them. And in their form of communication, hopefully you've asked them, send a message or a note that says, Susie, I've missed you. And I don't know if I did something that maybe offended you. And I just would like another opportunity to get a fresh start and to find out where you are. This may or may not be right for you. I just want to know how I can support you where you are. That is a kind and respectful message. Not like, are you ghosting me? I'm never going to call you again. If you're not going to call me back, I'm never calling you again. You don't burn your bridges. In life, that's a lesson. Don't burn the bridges. I've only blown it up like probably 3 times in my life where I actually blasted the bridge. But in most instances, I chose to keep that bridge open, because you never know how somebody can be different later in life. Circumstances could be different, and you might be different. So keep the bridge open, which is a good thought. And anybody else have an idea, something that you'd like to share with our person that wrote in that question? What is it that you do when they don't call you back and they don't connect with you? You can unmute yourself and share, or you can type it into the box. I'm certain you've got some good ideas. Be present for them and don't expect anything. Don't expect anything.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sometimes I'm already,
You're not
sometimes.
getting your ideas out there, but I have a couple comments. Thank you, Francine, for writing. I learned that from you about being pushy, and it changed my business and my life. Thank you so much. I am so glad because, Francine, you are the furthest from being pushy. If the first time you take the time to call them is to ask why they didn't send in an order, or why they didn't pay their bill, or why they're not coming to the meetings, or, you know, scolding them, what will that relationship look like? Zero. There is no relationship. They don't want to be hunted down. You don't want to turn into a stalker, folks. That isn't a fun thing. Leave a happy message. Thank you. Bridget leaves happy. Bridget's a happy person. You just got to know Bridget. If you don't know Bridget, you'll get to know her. She makes people happy. When she speaks with you, she has a smile on her face and she feels your heart. And it's a special gift, but all of us can take the time to connect with people. Victor Renoa, I've known him many, many, many years. And Vic always is happy to be with people, always makes people feel good when he's in their space. He's always laughing, and it's just a joy to be around him.
Well, thank
Vic,
you.
how do you stay so happy?
Well, you know what?
Oops,
For
you're
one thing,
muted. I'm so
you
sorry.
waste-
Just a second. We
I'm-
got to
I'm
unmute you.
muted.
I don't know if we can.
I can hear
Can we
them.
unmute him?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can't unmute you. I'm so sorry. Something. So Renee, can
Okay.
you check on that and see? Somebody can hear him. I just can't hear him.
We
Why?
can hear.
I can hear.
Nikki, we can hear
hear
him.
as well.
I can hear him.
Yes, I can hear. Nikki is muted now.
Nikki, you're muted now.
We can hear you.
Nikki.
We
I'm-
lost her.
Can you hear me?
Now,
Okay.
guys,
Yeah.
because
Oh, there
my
we go.
speaker was not working. It is on now. So now, Vic, how do you stay so happy? Unmute yourself for a minute. Let's see if I can. Okay, we're having troubles with Vic's voice, but he is good at what he does. I'm just going to tell you that. He's good at what he does. We couldn't hear you. Okay,
Vic, unmute.
there's a little
There
microphone.
it is.
There
it
he
is.
goes.
I'm muted.
Yes, now.
Okay. I try to be not a false front. When I'm working with somebody, I try to be as honest as I can.
Yes.
If I'm going to get to talk to somebody, I want them to feel that they're in my house. And when I say that, I want you to feel comfortable. I don't want you thinking, oh, this guy's just wants me to be on his group and he wants me to be one of his numbers. I don't want that because I'll lose him anyway. And what I try to do is be as honest as I can and show some compassion to this guy that you're going to get, because when you do that, I think passion instead of being a bully, you don't want to be bullied. We don't have a boss.
No,
I
that's
think
true.
you have to show true compassion. And I think the word love comes in, and not because I work with a lot of women. Men have to be little tender.
Mm,
And,
Isn't
and
it-
happiness,
yeah.
you know what my happiness is?
What?
That you did well. You did well in your business.
You did the best you
Not
could
to-
under the
to be a
circumstances.
contributor.
Yep. Good for
I
you.
am your partner. That's all I am.
As a partner, that's a good way to look at it. I'm not anybody's boss. I'm the partner. I think that's a great way to look at it. So let's move on here. So coaching is the key. You don't need all the answers, just empowering questions. I've given you some and I've asked you some since we've been on this call. If you are the answer queen or king, take your crown and throw it on the ground and stomp on it. Because if you need to be that queen, they're going to come to you for everything. You cannot build a big organization by being the answer queen or king. You can't. So asking those empowering questions is a powerful skill for you to develop. So ask questions that begin with these words. And if you could type it in, Renee, who, what, when, where, how. If your questions begin with these words, who, what, when, where, or how, they stay open-ended questions, the person will talk. And it doesn't feel like interrogation. You ask one question at a time and let them answer. That's all. That's how it works. And it's a whole different situation. So here's some questions. If I was coaching you about what we did today or what we've been talking about, I'd say, so how do you discover the emotional why with your team members? And if you're not doing that, I'm telling you, you're missing a big anchor to hold those people to your business, to their business. How do you address their limiting beliefs? That's another coaching question. How do you address their limiting beliefs? If you're not addressing, like when someone says, well, I don't want to be pushy. And you say, well, you're not pushy. You're really nice. Everybody loves you. Just go out and talk to everybody. You become the fix-it queen. You get the Band-Aid and you stick it on and the Band-Aid falls off. So the idea is we're not in charge of fixing people. People are whole and complete as they are. People are whole and complete as they are. Our job is not to fix them. Their job is not to fix them. They aren't broken. Our job is to empower them. And you do that through asking these kinds of questions and listening to what they say. Here's another one that is important. What, if anything, may be holding you back? If I was coaching you, what, if anything, may be holding them back? When you were excited about the business, what was different? So if that person started off and they were excited, and now it went away, when you started the business, what was different? Then they'll tell you and you'll discover something about that. Really listen to people. When you listen to people, you listen to understand. You don't listen to fix it. You don't listen to tell them, what you think they should be doing. You're not in your own head thinking about what you want to tell them and what you're going to say next. And by the way, again, can you mute everybody for me, Renee? And the other thing that is really important with this is when you're listening and you are trying to overcome objections, you don't get objections with questions. You get objections when you make statements. So think about how many statements are you making versus how many questions are you asking. If you're getting a lot of objections, I can guarantee you that you're making a lot of statements. Here's another, somebody just typed one in. Let me see if I can get to this. It says, you may choose to start with, tell me more about that. That's right. So tell me more. And what else? When they start talking, and what else? Let them talk. And your voice is important in coaching, whether it's customers or whether it is your team. Your voice cannot sound like interrogation. Your coaching voice is not the same as a training voice. This is a training voice. A coaching voice would be, so Susie, what do you think would be the first step that you'd like to take? Very different than, hey, Susie, you need to get in there and do something, take a step. That's not what we're talking about here. So when you're excited about the business, I really like that one because I think it's important. So get good at these questions, and it's amazing what happened. How coaching creates deep connections for lifelong relationships. Raise your hand if you'd like to have more lifelong relationships. Just about everybody would like more lifelong relationships. We have lots of flyby relationships. We have people that are in passing. We have people that we know. But what really makes up a relationship? It's two people that care about each other, two people that take the time for one another, two people that listen to one another. I had a lady, I did a coach training, a live training in Phoenix a few years ago. And this lady came up to me afterwards and she said, Nikki, my leader is always in a hurry. She is always in a hurry. I feel rushed when I call her. I feel like I'm bothering her when I call her. And I don't like that feeling. And I don't know what to do. Anyway, so she made the decision that she was going to talk to her if I stood there. What am I going to do? Beat her over the head? But I did. I stood there for it. I said, I'm not talking. It's your show. And she said to the leader, I'm going to call her Sally. So Sally, may I share something with you? This is called compassionate feedback. You ask permission first. May I share something with you that I've been feeling? And she said, well, I'm in a pretty big hurry. I've got to get someplace else, but I've got just a minute if you'd like to just tell me for a minute. There it was. That's how she felt every time she talked to that leader. And she said, I feel like when I call you or talk to you, that you don't have time for me, which makes me feel like I'm not important. That's a pretty heavy thing to drop on this person. And she said, well, it's not that, I'm just really busy. And there are other people that do more than you do. Oh, I dang near had a heart attack. I had to talk with that lady afterwards. It wasn't the time to do it there. But I thought, holy smokes. And this is the sad thing. This woman brought me in and she stayed in the back. Now I would never do this. In the old days I did. She stayed in the back because she had things she had to get done. She needed that class more than anybody else. And it was obvious to the whole class that she hadn't been listening. Anyway, I'm saying to you, make people feel important. Make them feel valued. You will have deep connections with people, lifelong relationships. You know, when I go to live events, which I can't wait till that happens again. But when I go there, people stay in line till 3 o'clock in the morning to find their emotional why. At the USANA Canada, that happened. They were there all night because I had somebody from Canada here. And I think we finished about 3:30. And every one of those people that were waiting in that line had not found their emotional why. So what did that tell me? Nobody in that company, and I shouldn't have said the name of the company, at that time, now they do, at that time, they didn't know how to find that emotional why. And every one of them said, you never made me feel rushed or like you didn't have time for me. You were 100% present with me during this whole time. See, that's part of it too. Deep relationships are when you give the gift of your presence. It is a gift to be with that person and that they know that. You're giving part of you. You don't lose anything of yourself. You just give part of your heart. And that's how you build those relationships, which is really, really beautiful. Here is another thought. And I'm watching my time because I'm trying. Oh gosh, here we go. Self-coaching. Self-coaching is a critical piece to growing your organization and for growing yourself. It increases your confidence. Ask yourself better questions. Every day I ask myself self-coaching questions. There's not a day that goes by. But some for you related to these topics are, how can I build stronger relationships with my team? How can I listen more effectively? Listen to understand. What can I do to connect with my customers on virtual meetings? And if you missed those, that we did a whole thing on virtual and how to connect with people, and it's on the app, so you can find it there if you want to go back. So self-coaching, every day I say, whose life will I make a difference in today? Before I get out of bed, every day, how will I show up today 100%? Who do I love and who loves me? I have hundreds of those questions, and you learn them in the coaching school. I'm going to tell you, you got to take care of you. Because if you are not coaching yourself, and you don't have a coach, you're trying to just blunder through life. Instead of saying, why am I so stupid? Why don't I have more people on my team? Why do people not stay with me? All that junk, those why questions have judgment attached, whether you believe it or not. They do. Through coaching, you will identify and connect with the different personality styles. See, it's important to understand that we're not all the same. I mean, we don't look the same. We don't think the same. We don't talk the same. Every one of us is different, and we come to the world with a different approach. So what I really want you to understand is when you are really listening to people, you will understand their behavioral style. You'll understand, are they an outgoing person? Are they more reserved? Are they more task-oriented? Are they more people-oriented? Do they have a lot of do they hold back and then go? Or do they go and say things without thinking them through first and then try to clean up the mess? But it will assist you in understanding. Understanding personality styles is very important in your business. There's a great book on our website. I didn't write it. It's just a good book. Positive Personality Profile. I think it's the best book out there on this subject. And you can find it on dswa.org, the store. We also teach this as a module in the coach school and several other classes that we do. It's part of our elite leadership program. So we feel it is really an important thing to learn. And in coaching, you can get this really quickly. We also have an assessment that you can have people take, a really inexpensive one that you can have them take that will help you if you don't know how to identify it, first of all, right out of the gate. So
We have a couple of really good questions. Do you have time?
I'll do just a couple good ones. Yes.
How do you set a goal for the team and, of course, go at their pace from love and actually accomplish higher goals?
Thank you for that question. There's something that we talk about it's about engaging your team in the vision. Now, see, the goal actually is after the vision. You got to get the vision first. And I don't have time to go into that whole thing, but I'm telling you, it's important. What is the vision of the team? And then you don't set the goal. You ask, what is our goal for this year, for 2021? See, mine is I want to have more fun in 2021. And I've got a lot of other things that go along with it, but that's a big thing to me, is having fun. The thing is to ask them, what would we like to accomplish this year? How would we like to show up at our seminar this year? What kind of rank advancement are each of you thinking about? Our dollar volume, or how many, what sales would you like to do? Find out from them, because if your vision was to be a $500,000 organization, and this person is going to do $10, this person is going to do 100, this one's going to do 50, so you're up to about $400 or $500. You're a long ways from $500,000, and that makes the team feel like they failed. So instead, and you know, if that's what it is, I either need to get more people or I've got to go out and make more sales, if that's what the vision is. So learning to engage them in the vision. It can't be your vision. It's our vision, and they've got to be a part of it. How would they like to participate in it? So that is another important piece. Okay, so another question. What did you have there, Miss Renee?
This was a good one too. What do you say or
it's
do when,
housed on our, oh, okay, there was a question.
can you
It's
hear
on the
me?
app, or it's also on the website in the store. The name of the book, we got that. So were there any other questions that we had?
Can you hear me,
Okay,
Nikki?
I'm going to move on then. To coach is to serve. That has been our motto since the very beginning. To coach is to serve. If Renee was talking, I couldn't hear her. How are you all? Am I talking over the top of her? That is just weird. Okay, so this thing went out again, so I'm going to unplug this. Renee, I'm not using the speaker. Don't buy it. Crisp
Can
is
you-
what it's called. It's not crisp. Renee, did you
Can
have
you hear
another
me?
question for me?
Can you hear me?
I still can't hear.
Oh,
So I don't know what that means. So I'm going to just keep going. So Renee, you can't talk now. Sorry. Okay, so to coach is to serve. Service is one of the principles of coaching, one of 5 principles, and it's one of the most important principles. If you look at, I'm here in service of this person. I'm not here to get them to do something. I'm not here doing this party so this customer will buy this. That whole thing of letting go of the outcome and enjoy the journey is critical. In coaching, you do not own the outcome. It's not yours, it's theirs. So when you're holding on to the outcome, it's frustrating to you when they don't do what you think they should be doing or that you want them to do. It's not your outcome, which is a big thing. My computer is not muted, so I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Shake your head yes if you can hear me. Okay, so some other reason. It's not muted. I don't know. It's the speaker you don't want. Okay, so the letting go of the outcome is a critical part of coaching. And when you get that, it's fabulous. It is fabulous because it takes all that weight off your shoulder. Because when you're holding on to the outcome, you feel like you failed if they don't buy something or if they don't do something. And we say things like, you have so much potential. Well, by the way, when we say you have potential, what's really behind that is, and you're not living up to it. And then they hear that. So it's just because somebody has potential, if they don't have desire, it doesn't matter. The desire is what we're looking for to find out what their level of desire is. Now, you gave questions in the box. I know this was short tonight. And when they said 30 minutes, I went, I'm not good with 30 minutes. It sometimes takes me hours. So I want to make sure that you know some other things that are coming up so that you can get more on this subject. January 19th, if you go to dswa.org/events that you can see here on the screen, That's where you go find all these classes that are coming up and things that we're doing. So stop selling, serve, how to get customers to come knocking without selling. It's going to be a fabulous, fabulous school. Go to the events page. It's on the screen and in the Dropbox. You also want to take a look. We have our level 1 Coach Excellence School is February 2nd to the 23rd, and it's twice a week. So it's easy for you to follow. We now have moved some things so that you have, oops, that wasn't good. We have moved some things so that we have some pre-work, so we have more time to practice in the class, which I'm really thrilled with. That's going to be fun. And we have a brand new class, and this is for people that if you've been to the school before, you get to go for half price if you've been to one of our schools. If not, this is for people that really aren't so sure about selling. You know, kind of what I did today, but in a much bigger format. It's several weeks of training on this subject, and very interactive, and everybody gets to talk and share ideas and ask questions, and it's really fun. We've done this only privately for companies before. We just opened it up for the first time. So if you've got people that are brand new in the business, but you want to get them started off right, so they're using the coach approach out of the gate, it will be so much easier for them when they have additional people on their team. Some people don't want to come to coach school because they think, well, I don't have a team. Why should I go? So then they get all these bad habits, and then they have a team, and then we have to teach them again how to coach. So this is going to be a really good course for everybody. Coach approach for sales and service, and we can do that for companies too. So you can see where you can sign up for our newsletter. We'd love to have you be a part of what we're doing at DSWA. Certainly becoming a member. And I'm so glad that you love the classes. That's beautiful. And I'm glad that you were here with us tonight. Here's the thing. DSWA is a service organization. We are here to educate people to be successful in their entrepreneurial ventures. It's like taking the time for you to learn. We do free classes. We do these $29 classes, and we have our leadership course. We have a lot of things that we're doing for people. This last year, Grace and I got certified in emotional intelligence from 2 different companies. We really dove into DISC and behavioral intelligence, a lot of things. So we have new information to bring at all times. But I'm so happy that you were here with us. And I'm going to stay on the line. If there's a question, you can unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, I'm going to end this recording, and you will get a copy of it. Thank you, Molly. You know, mahalo. Mahalo is thank you. Oh, Bobby, I'm so glad you were with us. Thank you again. Bobby's been to Coach School. A lot of people on this call have been to the school before. Let's see if there's any other comments. Thank you for your time. And I'm glad that you're going to come to the Coach School with Grace. Thank you, Ruth. That's going to be wonderful. Yep. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Enjoy.